Well, a very pleasant good morning. It is 11:07 at WPSL 1590, talking the Treasure Coast. And you're on Never Alone with Harbor Place and Mr. Jeff Wolder. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are y'all doing this morning?
Well, I'll tell you, your activities person has got me all psyched, and I'm actually now walking a long distance from my office to the back of the building. So she's got me psyched up.
It's been a fun time around here the past few months with getting everybody excited about being back in the community and doing events and things going on. So I don't know if everybody was able to join us last week, but we had a fantastic guest on last week, Miss Esmeralda Lee. She is the Chief Operating Officer for Century Park Associates. And we talked a little bit about the industry and where we've seen where it's been and where we think it's headed. And so it was we've had a great couple weeks on the show.
Boy, there is no doubt about it. And she was amazing last week. You guys have got an amazing corporation.
We do. And unlike most corporations, we are actually very lean on the top. We prefer to keep our salaries and things down below in the community level. So we don't have a whole lot of like regional chefs and regional lifestyles people. That's all handled by our directors of operations. And so it's a very interesting philosophy because most companies have all those big higher positions. We just don't have those with ours. So it works for us. We're able to offer our associates more money in the lower positions, and we get better quality of care because of it. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's truly amazing. And, it's just, there's just so much that's going on now that, makes you so much more attractive
Sure.
in the wake of higher home insurance and all the other stuff. It's a natural fit.
Well, and you've got now the market for real estate has gone through the roof. So now is the time, if you're even considering selling and going to an independent living or a 55 and older community, now is the time to do it. Especially if you have your house is paid for, now is the time. Get out from underneath it, sell it, stop worrying about having to deal with the daily upkeeps. And find one of those 55 and older communities, preferably us, to move into and enjoy the lifestyles that you can do now. Don't wait till it's to the point where you need assisted living or you need memory care or skilled nursing. Do it now. And so many times people are afraid that they're going to give up their independence or that they're going to not be able to have their loved ones come visit or be able to host those family meals. You can do that in an independent living just like you can at home. We have private dining rooms that you can use for your family events. Most of our apartments have enough space that you can do family meals in it. Independent living is not regulated by the state of Florida. And so it's just like renting an apartment somewhere else. You just have 2 meals a day, housekeeping, laundry available, things of that nature. So now's the time to do it. Stop worrying about cleaning that house, having to do the yard, and find you a 55 and older community and really start enjoying life for you.
Well, and it's not like, you don't have people out and about, whether it's recreational golf. And you had mentioned the other week that you have some championship pickleball players. Yeah. And, and I would imagine you probably still might have a few folks who still work.
Do and that's perfectly fine. I mean, we have some that because we start at 55, some 55-year-olds are not ready to retire. So they are still working, if not full-time, some part-time, and they're able to do that and not have to maintain their home, which is even better because they have someone coming in and keeping up with housekeeping once a week. And if they wanted to have their laundry done, they're able to add that to their list of services so that they can not worry about having to press those shirts and things of that nature. So Yeah, anything from retired to still actively working full time to someone, we had someone, they don't do it now because of COVID, but an independent resident that was still working at the hospital, nonstop. So it's very independent lifestyle is fantastic because you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that is truly amazing. And, and just the whole concept of your speakers
Yeah.
who are coming in are so informative. Um, especially your veterans person that, he was talking about things I never even heard about before.
I was actually funny you bring that up. A couple of weeks ago was my parents' 50th anniversary, so I was at home in Lower Alabama doing a party for them. And as we were talking, I was talking with my parents who are not older, but they're old enough to move to into an independent living. And we were talking about finances and making sure that they're where they need to be, and talking about those things now before they're ready to move, so that when they are ready, I can help them. And talking about VA, my grandfather was in the war. He ended up not needing services, but my grandmother did. And so we did not know that this existed. And it would have helped them out tremendously with the care that was brought into the home. And we wouldn't have depleted so much of her assets and things of that nature trying to take care of her if we had known then that this was even out there. So it's great that we have someone like Dwayne that is willing to get in the trenches and find that those approvals for veterans. And it's pretty simple as to what they qualify for and what they have to have, and he can walk through the process. It's just the red tape of getting the process that's a pain. So having someone like Dwayne is fantastic.
Well, yeah, I mean, he knows the system, and as we all know, government red tape is just unbelievable.
More power to him for dealing with that.
That's where the gray hair came from, right?
Yeah, that's it. When someone starts talking about VA, I go, whoa, let me just pass you on to Dwayne, and Dwayne will be happy to fix that and go with those guys to help you get through that. That is not my expertise. We start talking about long-term care insurance and how that pays out and things of that nature, that I can help you with, but government VA, no, that is totally not me. Let me get you the right person.
How many people have long-term care insurance? I thought I heard something on CNBC that was frighteningly low, like maybe 12 or 13% of the population.
First, yeah, when it first came out, it was not extremely popular. People didn't think they needed it, and they didn't really know what it was for. But if you got in on it when it first came out and they first started offering it, some policies were paying up to like $125 a day for someone to be in long-term care, so assisted livings. And now it's you can't even hardly get them if they will write you a policy, because once the word caught on that this is something that you need, and they were having to pay out all these policies that they were doing at such a high rate, they stopped selling them very quickly. So if you got in on that ground rate, and even if it's $100 a day, I mean, I have residents who their average daily rate is like $106 a day. So think about it. You're out of pocket to be in an assisted living. If you have that, could be anywhere $300 or $400 because the rest of it's being paid by your long-term care insurance. So I encourage you, if you have it, to really dig in, look into it, and see how that's going to help you. If you need some help figuring out your policy, come see us. We'll be happy to talk you through it and help you find out what you can afford and what you can't afford. And that's just what we do on a daily basis. We're not here just to build our numbers and to get people to move in just because we want them to move in. We want people to be in the right places. And so some of that takes us digging in and doing a little bit of work. And if we win you in the process because we've worked with you to help you get that done, then that's even better. But we just want to make sure that you as a consumer get what you are entitled to.
Yeah, and it's amazing that is one of the few things that I've done right in my life. And we did get two of the original policies, and we keep looking, and we're paying a little bit more each year, but it's phenomenal. I mean, if we ever, God forbid, we'll ever need it, I mean, we're going to have it.
Well, and that's the other thing. If you even remotely get close to qualifying for the things that need that care, do it. You've been paying for all these years. Don't waste that money. And that is essentially what you're doing when you don't use that policy. So you don't get a payout. If you were to die tomorrow, all of that money that you've put into your long-term care insurance goes away. And so when you have that, use it. Don't wait for it to lapse or then say, oh, I don't know. If we're helping you with reminders or we're helping you with meals and those sorts of things in assisted living, it's going to qualify you for your long-term care. There are some criteria, but definitely start using it as soon as you question, oh no, maybe I should go. If you have it, go. Get in there, still be independent, get situated, and it's just going to help you in the long run.
Boy, that sounds good. It's really does sound good.
And like I said, if you got in on that long-term care insurance, you are absolutely set to help you with everything, because that's on top of whatever. If you have a pension or your Social Security, that's not affected by your long-term care insurance. So it's really good that you have that and are able to use that for your care.
That sounds incredible. Of course, you're getting close to the holidays now. You're gonna be decorating, and boy, it's a phenomenal place for folks to go in during the holiday season.
It is, and we absolutely adore the holidays, of course, like everybody. We're getting ready to do some in-house things for Halloween. We're not going to do those to open the public. That'll be just for residents and residents' families. We're going to have an internal kind of trunk or treat type situation, and that'll be fun. But coming up in December, so go ahead and get that out there. We're doing our Wreaths of Hope again. Last year, we did it. It was a fantastic event. Even though we had to do it online, we did an online Facebook auction. We were able to raise about $1,400, even during a pandemic and no one being able to come out and look at the wreaths. So this year, we're excited to be able to open that up and have an internal auction for people to be able to come in, see the wreaths, bid on them. We will start collecting wreaths sometime in November. Those are donated by local businesses and decorated however they want to. For instance, last year I had I have a good friend of mine that actually owns a karate dojo, Scorpions Martial Arts, and they donated a wreath and it was all decorated in Karate Kid stuff. So it went to someone who had a child because he had given away I think it was like 2 months worth of classes or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but so it was a mother that bought it for their child and was able to go have classes. So it's a great thing. It's a great event. It's a great way for other people to get their name out there because we do it. We did it online last year. This year, we're going to do it live and online. So start thinking about those wreaths, and you're welcome to call us and get more information. And that way you can get your wreath involved and then of course, always bid on another one.
Wow, that is amazing. What an idea. And I know that, I think remembering back to when actually the Christmas kids, we would come out to Harbor Place around Thanksgiving, people talking about that.
So that was probably the Festival of Trees. So
maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Life Care does a thing similar to that with a Festival of Trees, and they do a tree lighting. And we didn't want to kind of steal their thunder and do trees, so we decided to go with a wreath. And then it's basically the same thought process. It's just that we actually raise money for something else in the process. So it's kind of it's a kill two birds with one stone type situation. We're able to get involved with the community, as well as last year we did the honor flight, and all of our money we raised went to honor flight. So we pick a charity every year and it goes towards that.
That is great. Well, we're going to have to do a commercial on that, because that's phenomenal. That's great.
We don't make any money off of it. All of the money goes to the charity that we choose. And I'm not sure if we are announcing yet what that charity is. I think we're still in the works of trying to figure out exactly who we're going to go with. But if you have a charity and you're listening and you want that charity thrown in the pot for consideration, let us know. We'll be happy to look into that as well. Like I said, that's coming up in December. It should be a great event now that we're able to open it back up and have people come into the community and look at those wreaths.
Boy, that's awesome. That is really, really tremendous. So that's going to be in December then, right?
That's going to be in December. And then in November, we're going to do kind of like a taste and tour where you're going to be able to come into the building and tour the building, and you'll get a meal for two that you'll be able to take with you. So you get to taste what comes from our culinary department and our chef. And that'll be probably the week of Thanksgiving. I think we're going to do it the Tuesday evening before Thanksgiving. So someone can come in and enjoy and see and take a meal for two.
That sounds great. Yeah. And what's the cost and something like that?
It's not, that's cost is on us. It's free. Yeah, we just want you to come in and tour and take a look. We ask that you either are a professional coming in on behalf of your company, or that you are 55 and older coming into view for your loved one.
Sounds amazing. Yep. You're out there. There's no doubt about it. So what about the month of October as far as events?
So we just had our big, we won't have quite such big because we're doing our trunk or treat with our residents and their families. So our big ones will be in November and December that are for the public. Sometime probably in December as well, we will have another super bingo. We just did that a few weeks ago. We had right at 100 people here playing super bingo, and it was a good time. It was lots of fun. We had Elvis all the way from Memphis was here calling bingo and performing for us in between games. We played 5 games. I believe the pot at the end, the coverall was like $150. I think someone won. And again, we don't make any money off of that. It is strictly what it comes in and how many people play, and then it's divided over the number of games. So it's a good event. We'll do that again sometime in October. We want to try to start doing it quarterly again.
That sounds great. It's just so wonderful that a place like yours that is so open can, be back open again.
We are. And part of the reason we can do that is actually December 1st, our company is one of the last ones, but we have mandated that all staff have to be vaccinated. And so we are able to start doing those by doing that, as well as we ask that if they come in for events like that they are vaccinated, or they're able to show us that they've had a test in the last week. Those are kind of the guidelines that we go by. If you're vaccinated, it's fantastic. You're able to come in and enjoy. And then testing, we just ask that they're tested and can show us proof of testing. And that's to keep our residents safe. It has nothing to do with, excuse me, trying to get into people's personal lives. We don't want that. We just have residents that are here that are vulnerable. And so we want to make sure that they're safe. And they want to make sure they're safe. They will tell you real quickly, if you're a guest, that you have to make sure your mask is on because they want to be safe in their own homes as well.
Boy, that sounds amazing. Yeah, we just got our boosters a couple of weekends ago. So yeah, it's glad to have that. And of course, I'll be prepared for the basketball season. There's a lot of traveling going on there. But, it was very funny because the NBA did that.
Yeah.
And there were a couple players that were going to be kind of holding out and not doing it. And they said, okay, you can't fly with us. You can't stay in the same hotels with us. You can't eat with us. So go ahead. So I noticed one of them got a shot yesterday. So it's like, okay.
Unfortunately, of course, with everything, we're going to lose some staff members because they're not willing to get the vaccination, and that's unfortunate. And some have been here for a while, and that's their right. However, we as a company have chosen that the risk far outweighs for our residents, and so we are going the route of that mandate for our staff members.
Well, it's interesting. We have an attorney who's very much a civil rights type of an attorney who always represents clients versus corporations. But on this issue, he's very much on the corporate side saying, you've got to protect your employees, period. And in your case, you've got to protect your residents.
We do, and it's unfortunate. And I personally, I got my vaccine the first time that we were able to roll out for senior livings, and that was just mainly because I personally could not have been able to live with myself if I had gotten COVID and I had brought it into the building and I caused a resident to get it back. We figured out through tracing if I had caused to get, I just could not have lived with myself. And so I'm like him. You know, I wanted to protect my residents and my parents for that matter, because of my travel that I do or that I'm in and out with residents. It made more sense in my head to it was more them than me. I wanted to be able to keep them safe than more or less worrying about, look, if 20 years from now, if I grow a tail, I'm going to be the first one that jumps on the TV that says, you know, if you were involved in the COVID-19 vaccine and you're eligible for it, that's going to be me. I'm gonna be like, okay, I did it, but you know what? It's okay.
Yeah, but just think of all the Facebook exposure you'll get.
Exactly. Right.
Well, that's if Facebook still exists then.
Right. Well, yeah, no, you know, we went through yesterday without having it for like 8 hours. I don't know how the world existed for 8 hours without Facebook.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But like I said, the whole idea and the whole thought process behind us mandating, and again, we're one of the last ones in the industry that has mandated it. We have kept it open to our staff for months for them to be able to make the choice on their own. However, it is time for us with the new Biden rollout with Medicare and Medicaid and the payouts and things of that nature. We aren't personally involved in that because we're private pay, but ACA, who mandates and oversees assisted livings, did come out and say, you know, it's not fair for other places that are deemed medical entities to require it and us not require it as well. And so they did roll out and say, if it's good for one, it's good for the other. So we did decide to go ahead and roll out that mandate as well. But your bigger corporations, Segura, Atrias, Brookdales, all of those have rolled that out as well.
Well, it makes perfect sense, actually. It really does. I was shocked that that hospital in New York City had laid off 1,400 people. I mean, that blew me away.
Yeah. And the cost of bringing in travel nurses is extensive. However, it also outweighs the risk of not having patients because they keep passing COVID from person to person. So it's just one of those things where the corporate America is sitting down and saying, okay, what is the risks associated with mandating it? And what are the risks of not mandating it? And which one outweighs the other?
Yeah, I mean, this is a curveball that none of us could see 3 years ago.
No. And, you know, and a lot of people compare it to flu. There's not a mandate for us to have flu shots, and there was no policies for flu shots, which isn't true. Anybody that's ever worked in a hospital or a medical industry knows that if you don't get the flu shot, then you are required to wear a mask when you're at work through the time period that the flu is prevalent. And so that could be months that you're wearing it without getting a flu shot. And so what we've done and some of the protocols that were in place really aren't any different than what we technically did with flu and flu outbreaks. So it's just that it's more prevalent than the common flu, and it's a lot more deadlier than the common flu. So the things that were rolled out really weren't anything special or anything that should have been a surprise, because if we had a flu, or let's just back up, not even the flu, any type of in an assisted living, if you have a stomach bug that reaches more than 2 people, or in its passing, then there's a set of rules and regulations that have to take place to maintain and quarantine that particular outbreak. So the things that they did in assisted livings, or the country did as a whole, is the same reaction we would have done in a nursing facility if there had been an outbreak of something else. And so looking at the bigger picture of, you know what, if we had had a flu outbreak, the government would have come in and said, this is the things you need to do to maintain the risk of that getting out with inside the building. And so you have to look at it that way. You can't look at it as, you know, they've taken away our civil rights, they've taken away this, they've taken away that. Working in this industry, you know good and well that there are things that have to happen when something else happens. Cause and effect. The cause was we had an outbreak of COVID-19. The effect was that we had to shut down and do these things to mitigate those risks of getting it even further. And that's unfortunately was a huge ordeal. And I'm not downplaying that at all. It's mainly, hey, this is what we have to do to keep people safe.
Yeah, I hate to hear that term "new normal," but in a way, it is. It's just reality now.
It is, and you know, until either, and the unfortunate side of that is, you know, there's that herd immunity that everybody keeps talking about, which is a high number, 80% wherever you want to go. But it's going to take either people being vaccinated or people who have gotten COVID and survived it and have the antibodies to reach that. There's no way around it. There's not going to be an in between and able to reach that herd immunity and us get and hopefully move past where we are now.
You know, the simplistic it could be very interesting when you're talking about the whole COVID thing. One of our orthopedic surgeons who's on with us every Wednesday was joking about the vaccines and said, let's just put it this way, real simple. It's like a wall in your throat. That's what the vaccine does. It doesn't let it get down to your lungs, which I think that it's a simple explanation, but it's the best I've heard.
Well, and it goes even further than that, not just the wall. When the vaccine came out, anybody that really was paying attention, and I say that because I'm fortunate enough to be on a lot of different committees and sit on a lot of different conversations. But when the vaccine rolled out, never once did they say it was an end all be all. They said, if you do get it, this vaccine will help you with having lesser symptoms or keep you from getting it at all. But never once did they say, there's never a chance that you'll get COVID-19 if you get this vaccine. That common misconception is very out there. There were people who heard this is going to keep you from getting COVID-19 and just rolled with that. And that's not what the conversations were had. That was not what the CDC and the FDA said. Everything that rolled out was that this can either keep you from getting bad symptoms or keep you from getting it. And there was never a black or white, you do and you don't. And so I think that's a real good thing to remember, that as we're asking people to get vaccinated, it's really to help you. Now, personal choice is personal choice. Do not get me wrong whatsoever. And there are some people who are not comfortable with it because they just don't know what the side effects are going to be. We have some that don't want to get it because they want to have children and they don't know what that side effect is going to be on the ability to get pregnant. There are a lot of studies out there. One that has come out is, you know, if you get pregnant after having COVID vaccine or having COVID, then your child is born with the antibodies. And that's a good thing, and that's part of that herd immunity is moving those antibodies forward on everybody. So this does kind of mitigate into what the flu is now. If you remember, several years ago we had the flu influenza N1 something. I don't even remember the name of it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I had a friend that was 20 at the time that died from the flu. People die from the flu, and we have those bad outbreaks even on top of having a flu shot, and that's going to happen. Things change, things mutate, if you go back and do a little, just a little, all you have to do is a little bit of research. Um, COVID-19 is the bird flu. It's what was originally was the bird flu, and it has slowly progressed to something different. And that's what time does. Anything that is attacks the human body or attacks things, it does mutate. And so that's what happens. Along with the vaccine, it was already in works just as a different sort of vaccine for the bird flu before it mutated. And so that it was already being in trials and things of that nature prior to, but they did have to move forward and do some different things. But there was a lot of misconception because people weren't doing the research. And no offense to people on the news, but it did make a lot of things a lot scarier than what it needed to be.
Well, and I think getting back to like watching the news, the mixed messaging from the CDC and the NIH was just mind-boggling.
Did not help at all, and so it was the Delta variant was expected. They expected that once the numbers went down, it would figure out a way to kind of mutate and to become something else. I don't think they expected the Delta variant to be as contagious as it was, and it did move. But as we're seeing in other countries, it did start to decline after a certain amount of time, and we're starting to see that as well. But unfortunately, at this point, because of the vaccine mandates and things of that nature, there are a shortage of people that no longer want to be in the nursing field or want to be in the healthcare field. And so it is becoming more and more difficult. Hiring and staffing is still difficult. We're in a good place, knock on wood, right now with staffing, but there were some challenges there. We had to bring in agency to help out, and it is part of what we do. But there's always a contingency plan when staffing drops. That's part of our emergency plans that we put together, and so it's just one of those things.
Well, and I think you hit it on the head too, where you always seem to be a step ahead and have those backup plans in place at Harbor Place.
We have to, and that's not just with us. And most of your industry are gonna. It's part of your emergency plans that you put together is you have a staffing contingency from whether it's being your directors and different people and not just care staff are on the floor working and helping out to bringing in an outside agency that you hire and pay to provide that care. But everyone that does have those contingency plans, we do try to stay one step ahead of it to make sure that we're okay. But I think that's kind of common across the board.
Yeah, that's truly amazing, and I just think that peace of mind is getting a lot more difficult. If you want to say in the outside world, outside your walls,
Yeah.
and that's what you offer.
We do, and it's kind of funny because I've been in this industry for almost 15 years now, and over the years I've seen what families complain about or have concerns about has kind of changed over the years, and right now, believe it or not, it's who can come in and visit and what those regulations are, and we appreciate that. I would much rather you complain to me about who can come in to visit than what the quality of care is that your loved one is getting, because that means that that we're providing that care. Whereas before, it was almost there was nothing to complain about, so we're going to find those nitpicky little things, which is great that a family looks at that as well. But at the same time, it's making sure, or they see now that the quality of care is there, especially when they weren't able to see their loved one for so long. And then when they were able to come back in and their loved one is still doing fantastic, no matter what has happened, that's important.
Yeah, and I think the fact the whole lockdown situation
Oh,
was horrific for all concerned.
It was not just difficult on families for not seeing their loved ones, or residents that weren't able to see their loved ones, because we were at later into it able to come up with some creative ways to still meet state regulations and still be able to see your loved ones, from outside portico visits with everybody 6 feet apart to we developed what we call our sensory connection rooms, so that if we were to have an outbreak in the building, then it's a room all by itself. There's paneling up so that plexiglass up so that you can visit with your loved one and still be safe. All of those sorts of things. We did a hug station at one point where there was a plastic piece that you put your hands through so that they could at least hug their loved ones. All of those crazy things that people thought we were really crazy to come up with or to build, but it made a difference. We hope and pray that we never have to go back into that complete lockdown again. Those are not fun. It's hard for internally, one with staffing, because if you have someone that's been exposed, that's not vaccinated, and then you have to go through a whole nother issue. And so knock on wood, we have been able to, on my assisted living side, have 0 cases of residents with COVID, which is fantastic. And then really and truly, I had 1 case in independent living, and that person had traveled, and that's where they got it. And then I have had 4 staff members, and that's it in the entire time period that we've had COVID. And that's reason behind that is the amount of cleaning that we do. I mean, we clean our building 3 times a day with disinfectants to make sure that places are clean, and our protocols that we have in place. We were actually praised by the county when they came in to do our infectious control because of the lack of cases that we have had in our building.
Wow, that's an amazing story in itself. It truly is. Hats off to you, because you know, and again, with only 2 residents and 1 bringing it in, if you will, from travel,
Yep.
that's an amazing story in this whole almost 2-year run of this crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
And all during all of that, there was a short time period where we were not able to do activities in group settings. We kind of had to do them in hallways because everybody had to be 6 feet apart, and so and still maintaining their quality of life inside the building. I'm happy to say that we're able to do those because we're almost not 100% vaccinated for residents in the assisted living. We're able to do those group settings again. And the other day, I think we had almost 70% of our population in the assisted living in our exercise class, which is fantastic to see. Everybody downstairs, our activity room was so full that we could not have put another person in there doing an activity, which is always great to see.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I didn't try to get in there. Oh, oh, well, that's another thing. You're so active, and you've got so many things going to keep people physically active.
We do. I have a fantastic lifestyles director, Bethany. She's a certified therapeutic recreational specialist. She was on a few weeks ago, and she does a great job with maintaining our calendars, not just physically, but also mentally, spiritually, from crafting to exercise to Tai Chi. You know, there's everything going on. Of course, bingo. Don't get me wrong. We always have bingo. And horse racing and Pokino. Those are your 3 common ones no matter where you go. But we do try to think outside of the box and get some activities in there that they enjoy. Cardio drumming is a good one that we do, and they have a lot of fun with it.
Well, if you can't get excited around Bethany, you're not alive. She's amazing. She is amazing.
She is. She's just one of the great team members we have here. We have Pat, our sales director, is fantastic. If you've never met her, even if you just want to come meet her, I would suggest it. Pat's been here for 12 years. She has been doing all kinds of stuff from community liaison to family liaison, and then eventually into the sales director role. And she has the amazing ability to connect with families and build those bonds and help assure them that this is the place for them. And she's done a fantastic job.
Now, Pat is the one that we see for tours, right?
That is correct. Pat is the main one that does tours. My assistant executive director, Anita, also does tours. She's kind of the backup to Pat. Pat works every other weekend. So there's times during the week that she's not here, and we help out Phil on doing those tours as well.
Well, and for folks just driving around and okay, how do we set up a tour for maybe our parents or maybe even them?
You can either call 772-337-4330. Again, that's 772-337-4330. Give us a call. The concierge that answers the phone will be happy to take your information. They're going to take some general stuff first and see what your need is. And then if Pat is not available, she will transfer that to one of us, myself, Anita, and we'll go over some more information. But just let her know that you want a tour. Most of the time, they'll go ahead and just set the tour for you without having to transfer you to another person. And then that person will give you a call back to confirm the tour. If it's the same day, you're welcome to stop by and just stop in the desk and say, hey, I want to take a tour. I was told to check in with Pat. And if Pat's not here, somebody will come out and tour you and enjoy our wonderful community with you. And that's from our pools to our shuffleboard courts, billiards room, all the great amenities that you would find in a resort, because that's what we offer here, resort style living for independent and assisted living. We absolutely love it. I have a resident right now that wants me to build a pickleball court. I don't know how quickly I can get a pickleball court built, but I am trying to figure out how I can go to the higher ups and say, hey, I need a pickleball court. But until then, we will continue to help people get to the pickleball courts and play. But we have a group of shuffleboard people that play, or players, and say people, every Thursday morning. And then I think now they've gotten so many of them that they play on Saturdays as well. So we just had our shuffleboard courts refinished. They're fantastic. I played one day. That's a hard game. I don't know if you've ever tried to play shuffleboard. It's like just the amount of rate pressure. If you apply too much pressure, that thing's going in, down to Stewart. Yes. And so, but it's cool enough now that we'll start playing a little bit more. During the heat of the summer, we played early in the mornings because it's kind of hot, but they are playing more and more, and they absolutely love it.
Well, I think you take out that western parking lot and just turn that into a pickleball court.
I do have an area that I would like to see if it'll fit, but again, that's just seeing if I've got to get that approved in order to get it. But he's sent me dimensions and regulations and all that kind of stuff. So I love it that he's as involved in wanting to add to the community as the rest of us and continue our growth here in Port St. Lucie. We've been here for 20 years. We're not going anywhere. You will see there's different places that have come up. They've been built, they've been sold, they've been bought. That's just kind of part of the industry. One of the things that sets us apart is that we have one owner. We are not an operator. We're an owner operator. So we own our building. There's no chance of it being sold to someone else because we do own and operate our own buildings, which that's why you will see that Harbor Place at Port St. Lucie has been the same name for 20 years, and we will continue on with that.
Well, and I think the big plus for you is, unlike a few of the facilities here that I remember during the hurricanes, you're rock solid there. You don't go anywhere.
No, Mr. Preston, when he built our buildings, was very smart. We are a concrete brick building, and that's not very common for 20-year-old buildings. Back then, they were still doing your common wooden buildings, and so it poses a problem when we start dealing with the internet because it wasn't built to think about internet and Wi-Fi. But we have been able to get around those. But one thing is for sure is that we are safe. We have ridden out many hurricanes here The process is still the same. We only leave mainly if we're mandated to leave because we have such a strong building here.
Well, and the good thing too, in a way, is that you're in what they call the St. Lucie Medical Center power grid as well. So, as is our transmitter. So, it's like, okay, this works.
It
And
is. So even though, I mean, we have generators that run, and we have big generators that run because we still have to maintain what we call safe rooms. If everybody remembers several years ago when I don't even remember which hurricane came through, but there were nursing homes that didn't have power and they didn't have cooling and things of that nature. And there was some bad things that came from that. They did roll out these safe rooms that everyone has to have. So we have sections in both the independent living as well as our assisted living that are those safe rooms that maintain power, they maintain AC units, things of that nature, so that we have that getaway.
Jack, what I think one of the things that makes you guys so attractive is the fact that you've got independent, you've got assisted, and if need be, God forbid it gets worse, you've got the nursing as well,
We do.
all on one campus.
Yes. And so we can sell our campus as a continuing care campus because we do have our sister community, which is next to our Life Care Centers of Port St. Lucie. They are able to do the skilled nursing portion. So we're owned by the same individual, two separate entities. So we're sister companies. So we have independent living and assisted living. They have skilled nursing. The only thing that we do not provide is a locked memory care unit. But other than that, we can take care of you from 55 up until you need skilled nursing next door in our sister property.
That sounds amazing. Once again, let's talk. We've got about 5-6 minutes left. Let's talk about the wreaths again. And
yes, our Wreaths of Hope. Wreaths of Hope is a fantastic event that we started. Actually, last year was the first year that we did Wreaths of Hope. It goes on to December. We start collecting wreaths about mid-November for about 3 weeks. Those wreaths are then displayed, and we have a live auction for people to come in and purchase those wreaths. All the money goes to a charity. The wreaths are donated by local businesses, families, whoever would like to donate one. We have different areas from home hospice, home health care to hospice to a karate dojo last year, and even a bowling club that donated wreaths. And we auctioned those off last year. I believe it was between $1,200 and $1,400. I really don't remember the exact amount. And it went towards Honor Flight. And that's a great thing. We were able to, I believe send 2 veterans to DC to do the Honor Flight tour, which was great to be able to do and be a part of. So we're going to do that again this year. We hope to have more participation. We had 12 wreaths last year. We would like to go have at least 20 this year. So if you know anybody that has a business and would like to donate a wreath, they are welcome to do so. Please get them in touch with us here. They can call Pat, they can call myself, and we will give them the information on that. And again, we will do a live auction, and that's always fun. We hope this year to bring in an auctioneer that can actually do better than I did. I had to do it last year. We did it last minute because of COVID, and we ended up doing it online for a Facebook auction, which was a whole lot of fun. I had a team in my office sitting around watching Facebook, counting votes and counting bids. So we laughed and cut up the entire time, but it was a great cause. And we want to continue on that tradition, and that'll be a yearly event that we do here at Harbor Place.
Boy, that sounds so nice. So nice. And around Thanksgiving, you mentioned the Tuesday event as well.
Yeah, we're going to do a tasting tour where you'll be able to come in and you'll get a meal for 2. And as you tour the building, and you will be able to get that meal, and it's from in-house. We won't have it outsourced. It'll be from our chef, and you'll be able to take that meal and have that and taste it. And like I said, it's going to be, we ask that you be either a professional that would like to come in and tour the building, or truly coming in to tour for a loved one or for yourself. because obviously that's a meal and we want to make sure it's going to the appropriate people. But we are going to start advertising that coming up in the next few weeks and give you the dates and the times for that event as well. So we've got the tasting tour, and then we also have our Wreaths of Hope event coming towards in December. And then probably mid-December, we will have another super bingo where you're able to come in and purchase bingo cards and play bingo. Last month, we did for last quarter, Elvis came in and called bingo and shook his hips, came all the way down from Memphis. And so we hope to have either him back or maybe someone else. Not sure who yet, but hopefully someone that'll come in and have a lot of fun with it and call bingo. We gave away a lot of prizes from gift cards. And then all the money that's raised is also given back to those that are participating in the bingo. So it's a whole lot of fun.
Well, when you mentioned the honor flight, that's such an amazing operation that is just honored so many veterans from this area.
Yeah. And we hope to continue that process. We do different events with them during the year. And so Veterans Day, things of that nature. So we love to do things with Honor Flight.
All right. Well, how do we get a tour?
Give us a call at 772-337-4330. You can also go online to our website. Just Google Harbor Place at Port St. Lucie. Pull up our website and you can request a tour there as well. Again, give us a call, 772-337-4330, or go online and book a tour off our webpage. And that again, just Google Harbor Place at Port St. Lucie and we will pop up.
Well, and I am just so glad that the effects of this god-awful disease didn't affect you that much at Harbor Place. That's amazing.
Yes, us too.
Yep, it's something else. Well, hey, we've done it. This hour flies by.
It does.
But Jack, seriously, you are never alone if you're at Harbor Place, right?
Yep, completely.
All right. Have a good week, my friend, and we'll talk with you or somebody on your staff next week. Okay.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Okay, Jack Waldrop, who is the executive director of Harbor Place, where you're never alone. Time right now is almost 12 noon. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, webcaster to the world on Alexa, Google Home, and your TuneIn app worldwide. Welcome all the 28 different countries listening to us today. Welcome aboard.